Good afternoon, I'm Brad Keselowski. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for allowing me to join and talk to a little bit of my career, my life as a NASCAR driver, and a professional race car driver / business owner on the side. We're glad to have your attendance, participation in this Autodesk Summit. As an Autodesk partner with my business, Keselowski Advanced Manufacturing, I want to say thank you to the Autodesk team for all of your support and continuous growth as you fuel on the next industrial revolution. First, on the racing side, I'm a NASCAR driver, two-time champion, won in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2010, and then my second championship in the NASCAR Cup Series 2012. And I learned so much in those years and those experiences to date. I still actively race in the Cup Series for Roger Penske in the number 2 discount tire Ford Mustang. It's a great experience. I'm very fortunate to be in the middle of a great season, hopeful to win my second Cup championship this fall. So appreciate everyone's support as we pursue that. But beyond that, I learned so much from racing, and I got bit big by the manufacturing bug. I love what it stands for. I love our country's ability to innovate and build things that make the world a better place. It's part of the human experience is manufacturing. And I think if you really look at the industrial revolutions of the last 200 years, each one of them has significantly increased our quality of life here on Earth. And so here we are on the cusp of Industry 4.0. And I'm hopeful to be a big participant of doing just that for future generations, to have the same opportunities we have, or even better, whether it be our sons and daughters, or sons and daughters of friends, family, or people we never know in other countries, other places, maybe even outside of Earth. So my commitment to Industry 4.0 is to be a part of making the world a better place. And I think that fits right in with Autodesk's version and vision of the future, with the thought of how do we use our tools, modern day tools, to spur on revolutions in industrial advancements that the world's never thought of, and that create better products for cheaper prices with less environmental waste. All these different things are now possible. And so as part of the Autodesk partnership, we look for those things together. And I think people ask me a lot, well, what does this specifically mean? So I'm here to speak today about winning in a challenging or changing environment. Specifically, I live that every day in motorsports. And I'll give you a specific example to talk and think through. In my championship season in the Cup Series 2012, in that particular season, we were running for the Cup Championship, and we were right on the edge of being able to win it, neck and neck with another champion, Jimmy Johnson. And as we came down to the final races, both of us really close in points, the rules and regulations allowed the cars to have a really special rear suspension with special components that allowed the car to move actively on the racetrack and increase its speed. But then when the cars returned to slow speeds, they had to fit through a technical window that NASCAR, the governing body, had. So what this created was specific parts on the car that created dynamic loads and dynamic shapes for different settings on the car. And as we were competing at the end of the year, we went to this racetrack in Texas, Texas Motor Speedway, Dallas-Fort Worth area, for those that might be familiar. And we had modeled our parts to go on the car based on very specific computer-aided engineering that told us the loads on the car and predicted how they would affect the car on the racetrack. And in using those tools, those simulation tools, very advanced tools, we had to model the weather conditions because, as many of you know, cooler weather makes the cars go a little faster. The engines make a little more power. The pavement has a little bit more grip. It's not quite as slick. And it can change the loading conditions of the car accordingly. Well, as fate would have it, a warm front moved through during the middle of the race weekend, and the track lost a lot of grip. And the engineering and simulation numbers that we designed our parts around for the car to be optimized and to run its top speed were no longer relevant. So our team went back, and after final practice, Saturday morning, about noon is when it ended, before our race the next day, Sunday, starting at noon, our team realized we had a big problem. car wasn't designed properly for the load conditions, specifically that rear suspension setting, and we needed to make a change. Well, how are we going to do this? Our shop is in Mooresville, North Carolina. Our car is in Texas. We have, first, we have to install these parts. Before that, we have to manufacture them. Then we have to get them delivered from Mooresville, North Carolina. And of course, there's an engineering step in between, along with quality inspections. So how are we going to get all this done? And I think this really tells a story about what it's like for us in motorsports. Because our team, first off, phoned up engineering and said, hey, look, we need you to go to the office in Mooresville, North Carolina, and run these parts with different load cases and tell us exactly what we need to optimize the car. Run the CAE, computer aided engineering. Our team did that in a few hours. Then they had to come back with these new load cases and incorporate them into CAD, computer aided design, to redesign the part for these new load cases. Again, it took a few hours. Then of course we had to call in the computer aided manufacturing team so that they could set these parts up to be machined in our numerous machining centers that we have, computer numerical control machine centers in our Mooresville, North Carolina facility for Team Penske. And those parts had to be run all through the night, so we had to call in an extra shift to run on a Saturday night. You can only imagine how that call went. And then of course, first thing in the morning, the parts had to be inspected and shipped on our airplane to be at the racetrack by 9 a.m. Those parts were installed on the car that next morning, right before technical inspection around 10 a.m. and were ran in the race and helped propel me to a better finish. We were a lot faster with them and eventually the championship. That is a case study that I want you to think about for just a second. From problem to solution in less than 24 hours. And all the steps in between, from one, recognizing the problem, to two, computer aided engineering to be able to define it, to three, computer aided design to be able to help solve it, to four, computer aided manufacturing to be able to create the manufacturing process. Now five, you have your manufacturing process itself all through the night in this example. Then six, quality control through the morning or wee hours of the night, depending on how you look at it. And then of course you have delivery and installation. Think of all those steps in a traditional manufacturing environment. It would take your average company weeks, more likely months, and for some companies, quarters or years to solve those types of challenges. For us in motorsports, we don't have that luxury. Time is of the essence. The rules and regulations are changing all the time, and you only have one chance every year to win a championship. And it happens really with the cumulative efforts of every race weekend. So for us, in our example of winning in a challenge environment, it's about speed without sacrificing any quality. And we use really powerful tools to be able to make that happen because time is of the essence. Autodesk is one of those tools that is very well known for its computer-aided engineering capabilities, and I'm proud to be associated with them because it helps us solve those types of challenges. In 2017, I made the decision to start CAM, Keselowski Advanced Manufacturing, using the same vision that was born out of the fire of motorsports. How do we create speed and quality to cutting-edge tools, Industry 4.0 tools, in a way that can change the world? And so specifically for me, that means having great software and metal 3D printing capabilities. That's what CAM is known for, with a suite of other tools like CT scanning, CNC, and numerous other quality tools as well. So out of that vision, CAM was born and created, founded officially in January 2019 with our launch. And we built this company with the idea of having world-class partnerships to the fact of how do we not only help spur on Industry 4.0, but do it not just for ourselves, but for others, creating technological advancements and solving challenges the world's never seen before. We use Autodesk products in a number of ways. Probably the one we use the most is NetFab. NetFab is a very critical tool for us at CAM. It allows us to fully simulate metal additive parts before we print them and to find issues before we lose both time or risk quality in our builds. And I think that's really important because part of my vision for the future, specifically Industry 4.0 is, it's not so much the current model that will be the model of the future, in my opinion. The current model, which a lot in business have thought of as big versus small, that for a long time has dominated the thought process of how to compete in the new world. But we think the reality of the new world is not big versus small. It's fast versus slow. And computer-aided engineering, like Autodesk products allow us to use, allows us to operate so much faster. We can iterate different designs in ways that we didn't even know were possible. And we can do that without having to have the slow feedback loop of design, manufacture, check. We want to design, simulate, check, then manufacture. This creates product development processes that can be up to 4 to 5 times faster. And we love it. It's the promise of Industry 4.0. Less waste, faster product cycle times, less cost accordingly. Autodesk products, and specifically computer-aided engineering, make that possible. That's the vision of CAM. And I think when you look at our current landscape here in 2020, COVID being a huge factor among many others, speed is so important. How do we solve these challenges we have? How do we do it in a way that saves lives? That's how we do it here at CAM, with advanced tools like Autodesk NetFab and C80. One of the most specific examples I can give you to how Autodesk supports CAM is through software development. Specifically, we have the ability to correlate simulation to real-world product manufacturing and find any irregularities between the two and help eliminate them immediately so that our simulation can be as accurate as possible. The other thing that we have the privilege of working with Autodesk on is just their complete process or workflows of developing software so that it's the most friendliest manner possible for our team to work through it. Specifically, how do we create workflows that are easy for our engineering team to use, that will be easy for engineering teams of the future to use? That's really important to us for the relationship. It creates a very dynamic and active feedback loop that goes both ways between Autodesk training our team and our team able to inform Autodesk of ways we can help streamline their processes and workflows for other companies of our nature. That relationship has been hugely critical to our success here at Keselowski Advanced Manufacturing. And I can tell you, when we simulate parts, the results are incredible. And it saves us a bunch of time, a bunch of costs, that makes its way to our competitors, or not our competitors, our customers, more importantly, so that we are more competitive in the workplace. And we hear from our customers all the time, your parts are right the first time, and your throughput and your timelines for us to get parts from you are way faster. Autodesk is a big key to that, and our relationship and our ability to work side by side in the development of their products is huge. Thank you for your time today. I'm entirely grateful for all of the efforts that Autodesk put into holding this conference. We know it's a challenging time for so many of you. Thanks for joining and making the time for us as well. I hope my presentation and demonstration today was helpful to you in understanding the value that Autodesk offers to Keselowski Advanced Manufacturing, and hopefully to you and your companies as well. We wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay healthy, and again, thank you for all your support.